Good evening and welcome to Pakistan Today News from our London studio. I'm Victoria Lane. The United States and Israel have continued strikes inside Iran, targeting oil storage depots and refining facilities in Tehran for the first time since the conflict began. The attacks mark a significant escalation as critical energy infrastructure becomes a direct target in the expanding confrontation. Meanwhile, Bahrain says an Iranian drone strike has caused material damage to a water desalination plant in the kingdom. Bahrain's Interior Ministry confirmed the incident, but said there were no immediate reports of casualties. The development comes just one day after Iran accused the United States of bombing a freshwater desalination facility on Qeshm Island in southern Iran. The exchange of attacks on key infrastructure underscores how the conflict is increasingly affecting essential civilian services across the region. Analysts warn that continued strikes on energy and water facilities could deepen instability and raise humanitarian concerns. In a separate development, the United States says it has evacuated more than 32,000 Americans from the Middle East since February 28. The U.S. State Department says nearly 24 charter flights have been organized in recent days, as Washington works to assist citizens seeking to leave the region. However, officials say more than half of the Americans who requested assistance ultimately declined government evacuation options, choosing instead to remain in the region or arrange alternative travel. With much of the Middle East's airspace closed due to ongoing military activity, many Americans scrambled to secure routes out, with some reportedly paying large sums to charter private aircraft. U.S. authorities say they continue to monitor the situation and provide support for citizens attempting to return safely to the United States. Turning now to diplomatic developments, U.S. President Donald Trump held a phone call with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Sunday to discuss the conflict with Iran. The conversation came just a day after President Trump publicly criticized the British leader for joining the war, saying the United Kingdom had entered the conflict after we've already won. According to the UK Prime Minister's office, the leaders discussed the latest developments in the Middle East, military cooperation involving Royal Air Force bases, and collective self-defense measures for regional partners. Prime Minister Starmer also offered condolences for the 6 U.S. soldiers killed during recent operations. Both leaders said they expect to remain in close contact as tensions in the region continue to rise. President Trump has also sparked controversy with remarks about Iran's future leadership. Speaking to ABC News, the U.S. president said Iran's next supreme leader would require his approval, warning that without it, the new leader is not going to last long. The comments came as Israel issued a warning that it would target anyone involved in selecting a successor to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The Israel Defense Forces confirmed the elimination of Abu al-Qassem Baba'yan, the head of the military office of the supreme leader and chief of staff of the Khatam al-Anbiya Central Headquarters. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz praised the operation, saying Israel would continue to pursue those responsible for military operations against the country. Meanwhile, U.S. forces say they have struck more than 3,000 Iranian targets during the first week of what Washington has called Operation Epic Fury. The campaign represents one of the most extensive strike operations in the region in recent years. According to U.S. Central Command, the attacks have targeted missile installations, command centers, and other elements of Iran's military infrastructure. Officials say the coordinated campaign with Israeli forces aims to significantly weaken Tehran's offensive capabilities. Iran has responded with ballistic missile launches and drone strikes, and residents in several areas have been warned to stay away from military locations as bombardments continue. The conflict, now entering its second week, shows little sign of slowing down. The expanding regional conflict is also taking a toll on civilians beyond the immediate battlefield. A fisherman from Gwadar has been killed after his boat was struck by debris from an Israeli military projectile that had been intercepted by Iranian air defenses. Local officials say the victim, Mohammed Tayyab from the town of Gans in Balochistan's Gwadar district, was fishing in Iranian waters when the debris fell onto his vessel. He later died from his injuries and was buried in his hometown. For more on this tragic incident, We're joined by our correspondent Walter Cooper in Balochistan.
Authorities in Gwadar say the fisherman was operating in Iranian waters when fragments from an intercepted Israeli projectile fell onto his boat. Local officials confirmed that the debris struck the vessel directly, leading to Mohammed Tayyab's death. Community leaders say fishermen in the region are increasingly worried about the dangers posed by the expanding conflict in nearby waters. The victim has since been laid to rest in his hometown of Gans, where residents have called for greater protection for fishermen working in international waters. Officials here say the incident highlights the far-reaching impact of the Middle East conflict on ordinary civilians.
Walter Cooper reporting from Balochistan. Thank you, Walter. And finally, a Pakistani driver has died in Dubai after debris from an intercepted aerial projectile fell onto his vehicle in the Al Barsha area, according to the Dubai media office. Officials say this is the second Pakistani fatality reported in the United Arab Emirates since the widening Iran-US-Israel conflict began, as aerial interceptions and missile activity have spread across parts of the Gulf region. The Pakistani embassy in Dubai says it is assisting the victim's family and coordinating with local authorities. Leaders in Islamabad, including President Asif Ali Zardari and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, have expressed sorrow over the incident and extended condolences to the family. Both leaders have also urged restraint, warning that continued escalation in the region risks broader instability and further civilian casualties. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today News. I'm Victoria Lane.